starting the shiur right now. Okay, I'm in Barbatala, we're starting the shiur right now. All right, I'll speak to you. Bye.
B'Shas Maradasra, we're continuing our shiur in Dishu B'Halacha. We're holding today on Reish Gimel Amid Beis, and we are holding at the end of Siman Shin Mem Tes. We are in the Mishnah Berurah in Ois Katan Yud Ches. So in the final Sif of Siman Mem Tes, the Mechaber had said that there's an Issa D'Rabbanan, you're not allowed to move a chayfetz pachas ma'arba amos in Rishus HaRabim. You're not allowed to move a chayfetz a little bit less than Dalet Amos at a time. You know, pick it up, move it a little bit less than Dalet Amos, put it down, and then pick it up again, make a new akira, carry it again a little bit less than Dalet Amos. And through doing this, transport it a large distance in Rishus HaRabim, I'm sorry. You're not allowed to do that on Shabbos. And the Mechaber said this is aser va'afilu ben hashmashos. You're not even allowed to do this during ben hashmashos, when it's a suffix if it's Shabbos or not. Va'afilu b'karmelis, you're also not allowed to do this in a karmelis, in a Rishus Rabbanon. We know that the Chachamim asered being mavid Dalet Amos in a karmelis, just the way it's aser midaraisa to carry a chayfetz, to move a chayfetz Dalet Amos in Rishus HaRabim. The Chachamim asered moving a chayfetz Dalet Amos in a karmelis, because a karmelis is so similar to a Rishus HaRabim. So you would not be allowed to do pachas even in a karmelis. Says the Mishnah Berurah in Ois Katan Yud Ches, va'afilu bein hashmashos, after le'inyan pachas ma'arba amos hu sveika d'Rabbanan, even though when it comes to the issur of moving the chayfetz Dalet Amos in a karmelis, when it comes to moving the chayfetz pachas ma'arba amos during ben hashmashos, we're really dealing with the sveika d'Rabbanan. Because the whole issur of moving the chayfetz pachas v'dalet amos is not only an issur d'Rabbanan. Ben hashmashos is a suffix if it's Shabbos or not. So what are we dealing with here? We're dealing with a suffix d'Rabbanan. Ve'kelu b'kegayin zeh b'siman shin mem beis ayin sham. And in Siman Shin Mem Beis, we said that there are times that we're mekel on isurei d'Rabbanan during the time period of ben hashmashos. However, over here, and the truth is that the Mishnah Berurah mentioned this in Shin Mem Beis as well. But when it comes to this issur of carrying something pachas v'dalet amos, keven du karov lavai al yidei zel yidei malacha da'araisa, since it's very possible to come to an issur da'araisa, if we're going to allow you to carry something, to move something pachas me'arba amos in Rishus HaRabim, it's very close, too close for comfort, that you might come to be over the da'araisa. Like the Mishnah Berurah said earlier, we're afraid that you might forget, since your plan is to move the chayfetz more than Dalet Amos, just you're using a loophole in the law and you're picking it up and putting it down repeatedly, it's very easy to forget and come to move it more than Dalet Amos, which would be an issur daraisa. So since it's close to come to a daraisa, gozru behem tvei. The gzera against doing this is a little bit stronger than other isurei d'Rabbanan, and it's going to be in play even during the time period of ben hashmashos. We're on Reish Gimel Amid Beis. We're about to begin Mishnah Berurah Ois Katan Yud Tes. The Mechaber said that the issur of pachas ve'arba amos is even in play in a karmelis, va'afilu b'karmelis, even though carrying in the karmelis is only an issur d'Rabbanan. So this is kind of a double d'Rabbanan. Still, we're not allowed to do it even in a karmelis. Says the Chavetz Chaim Hatam. The reason for this again is the imnakel bazeh, because if we're going to be noyeg kula over here, and we're going to allow you to do pachas v'dalet amos in the karmelis, karov hadavar sheyolich arba amos babas achas. Again, we're afraid that you're going to come to do babas achas, which will lead eventually to a daraisa, if you should do it Rishus HaRabim. Well, the Gra says another reason. The chol davar she'asru b'Rishus HaRabim mishum shvus, anything that the Chachamim asered to do in a Rishus HaRabim as an issur d'Rabbanan, hu adin she'asar b'karmelis, they equated a karmelis to a Rishus HaRabim totally. V'emu ben hashmashos gamkein. Now, how about if you're in a karmelis and it also happens to be ben hashmashos? So now you have two reasons here to be mekel. The whole issur in the karmelis is an issur d'Rabbanan, and ben hashmashos is a suffix d'Rabbanan. So das ataz v'liyarav lahakil bazeh. Ach lefi amavur la'el b'siman shin mem beis. This that we said earlier in Shin Mem Beis, la'yitiru shvus ben hashmashos kiyum l'tzarech mitzvah, that the whole concept of being mekel on an issur d'Rabbanan during Ben Hashmashas is only when there's a tzarech mitzvah, or b'makom atchak, or a real shas atchak. Could be that also over here you should also only be naig kula if it's tzarech mitzvah or it's a real doichik. We are about to begin Siman Shin Nun on Reish Gimel Amud Beis. And here we have a very interesting Siman. They've all been interesting Simanim. But let's see if we could actually start Shin Nun and finish Shin Nun tonight. That will bring us pretty close to being caught up. Siman Shin Nun. Din hamoitzi roisho v'rubai merishus l'rishus. The law of one who extends his head and most of his body from one rishus to another rishus. Ubai gimel seifim, and we're going to have 3 seifim. Zak the machaber. Aymed adam b'rishus hayachid. A person can stand in rishus hayachid. Umoitzi yadai l'rishus harabim. Stick his hand out into the rishus harabim. Now his hand is empty. He's not holding a chayfetz. So he's in a house and he opens up the window. It's on the first floor. So when he puts his hand out from the rishus hayachid out to the rishus harabim, his hand, let's say, is going to be less than 10 tefachim off the ground level. So his hand is going to be in rishus harabim. So he's in the rishus hayachid. He extends his empty hand out into the rishus harabim. Umetaltal sham chafatzim, and he could go handle objects that are in the rishus harabim, but they're objects she'enam tzrichim loy b'makayim shehu oimed. But they have to be objects that he does not have a distinct need for in the rishus hayachid that he's in. So he's sticking his hand out. He's looking outside the window. He sees an interesting chayfetz on the floor over there. He sees a toy or whatever, a ball. He doesn't need the ball in the house. He's always yelling at his kids, no ball playing in the house. So he doesn't want the ball in the house. But if he wants to, he could stick his hand out, he could pick up the ball, and he could move the ball in rishus harabim. Shenoitlan mikan or menichan kan. He could pick up the ball at point A, and he could move the ball to point B. Ubelvad shalo yavirem arba amos. However, he cannot move the ball 4 amos in rishus harabim. That he cannot do. So the isser of being maver a chayfetz talad amos in rishus harabim, that isser is still going to apply to him, even though he personally is located in the rishus hayachid. This is not, the question of being maver the chayfetz talad amos is not a question of moving it from one rishus to another rishus. It's a question of moving it in the rishus harabim from point A to point B that's 4 amos away. That you're not allowed to do, even if you happen to be personally located in the rishus hayachid. You're not allowed to do that.
If you're in the rishus harabim, you said from one time you're allowed to do it. You're allowed to move less than 4 amos.
Less than 4 amos.
So what is this?
He's also allowed to move less than 4 amos. He's not allowed to be maver at more than 4 amos.
What is this halacha more than we even know already?
Oh, you're asking what the chiddush is?
Yeah,
no, so you're right. That's not the chiddush. The chiddush over here is going to be that we're going to allow him to handle a chayfetz in rishus harabim, and we're not going to make gzeira d'rabbanan that we're afraid if we allow him to pick up the chayfetz in the rishus harabim, he might bring it into the rishus hayachid. That's the chiddush. Right, because in the rishus harabim, so the only isser that you're faced with is being maver dalad amos in rishus harabim. And that we weren't geyser if you're doing it less than dalad amos, because the Torah lehedya allowed that by shvu ish tachtav, so that we weren't geyser. Over here, you're in the rishus hayachid, the chayfetz is in rishus harabim. This is real danger bells, alarm bells going on here, because you're in one rishus and you're handling a chayfetz that's in another rishus. So, like the Mechaber says, v'loi chayshinan. What was his words here? We're not worried that by allowing you to handle it, you might come to bring the chayfetz into the rishus hayachid. Why? Because we're only allowing you to handle an object that you do not have a distinct need for in the rishus that you're located in. And now the Mechaber is going to give an example. Hilkach, therefore, based on this concept, mutar lamoid b'rishus harabim, you're allowed to stand in the rishus harabim, lital mafteach b'rishus hayachid, and to take a key that is in the rishus hayachid, v'liftayach sham, and to open the door. So, without getting too complicated, because we had some complications about this a little bit earlier. So let's draw like an uncomplicated case. You are coming to a house. In front of the front door of the house, there's a little walled-in area. It's mamish walled in. You have mechitzas and everything. So that area, it's more than daled al daled. It's got mechitzas, everything. So that area is a rishus hayachid. The key is hanging on a nail inside that rishus hayachid. You're standing in the rishus harabim. You could go reach from the rishus harabim into the rishus hayachid without walking into the rishus hayachid even. You could stand in the rishus harabim, reach into the rishus hayachid, take the key, put the key into the door, unlock the door, turn the door into the house. So your mamish, the key is going into rishus hayachid, everything, and fine. You didn't do anything wrong because you're in the rishus harabim. You're being metaltal chayfetz that's in the rishus hayachid, and you don't want the key in the rishus harabim. You don't want to bring the key into the rishus harabim. You have no need for the key in the rishus harabim. So by allowing you to handle the key, we're not afraid that you might come to bring the key into rishus harabim. So we're going to allow you to do that. Mutar lamed b'rishus harabim. You're allowed to stand in the rishus harabim. Lead tal maftech b'rishus hayachid, to take the key that's in the rishus hayachid. V'liftach sham, and to go open the door. V'chein merishus hayachid l'rishus harabim. And the same thing would be true. We would allow you, if you're standing in the rishus hayachid, we would allow you to handle something that's in the rishus harabim. So now, let's see the Mishnah Berurah. I'm hung up on one Mishnah Berurah over here. I don't know if you'll help me out. I'm having a hard time with it, but let's see. It's a Mitzias question. Says the Mishnah Berurah, nice cut in Aleph, you're allowed to handle kelim she'enam tzrichim loy b'makom, va'afiluhem kelim noim, even if they're very beautiful kelim. Now, it's not for nothing that the Mishnah Berurah says this, va'afiluhem kelim noim. The reason he's picking on this is because the Mechaber is going to bring down a Deya Shniya. He's going to bring down another opinion that's going to talk about kelim noim, about particularly beautiful kelim. But over here, the Deya Rishona, at least, is saying it doesn't matter what the keli is. As long as you don't need the keli, that's the bar. You're allowed to handle kelim in the other rishos if you don't need them in the rishos where you are. Ice cut and bays. The caveat over here was, Shalai avirem arba amos. You're not allowed to move the objects that you're handling in the rishus harabim. You're in the rishus hayachid. You're handling kelim in the rishus harabim. You're not allowed to move those kelim more than 4 amos. Perish. Chavetz Chaim explains. Afal pisha hu oimid b'rishus hayachid. Even though you are standing in the rishus hayachid, rak shebiyadai moilech chayfetz arba amos, and just with your hand extended into the rishus harabim, you're moving the chayfetz 4 amos mimakam shehu munach, from the point when it's at rest, ad Seif arba amos, until the end of 4 amos b'rishus harabim. You're not allowed to do that. Ve'im haver chayiv. If you would do that, you would be chayiv. Va'afilu im igbiyo l'mayla me'asar tvachim. And this would be true even if you stuck your hand out the window from the rishus hayachid, you picked up the keli in rishus harabim from on the ground, you picked it up to a height over 10 tvachim, so you picked it up to a makom p'tur, you moved it 4 amos across the makom p'tur, and then you put it back down. That also would be aser, because it doesn't matter that you went through a makom p'tur. The bottom line is that in the end you're putting it down 4 amos away. So you made an akira in rishus harabim at point A. You made a hanacha in rishus harabim at point B 4 amos away. You're not allowed to do that, even if you go through the intervening daled amos in a makom p'tur. That doesn't help you. Now, I'm just going to mention over here for Lumdus' sake that yesterday we spoke about the concept of being mavir daled amos in rishus harabim. And we said that it's a tolda of haitzah. And the reason it's a tolda of haitzah is because the iser of haitzah is when you move an object from one rishus to another rishus. Like a rishus hayachid to a rishus harabim to rishus hayachid. We said haitzah is a tolda, mavir daled amos is a tolda of haitzah. Why? Because like the Mechaber told us, every person owns daled amos in rishus harabim. So when you're in rishus harabim, the daled amos around you are your makom. So it's like a distinct rishus because it's your makom. When you move the chayfetz out of the Daled Amos, you're moving it out of your makom, and you're moving it into a different makom. That's also because it's a tolda of hoitzah. What's interesting in this case over here is that in this case it doesn't really seem to apply, because in this case you're in the Rishus HaYachid. So it's hard to say that the 4 Amos that you're transporting the chayfetz in is your Rishus. It's not your Rishus. You're not in the Rishus HaRabim. Elamai, you have to say that somehow the chayfetz has Daled Amos. That the same way you have Daled Amos, somehow the chayfetz has Daled Amos. But whatever it is, this Daled Amos, you're still not allowed to be mavir out of the Daled Amos, even though you're not in the Rishus HaRabim. So I just thought that for the lumdus, we'll have to see how things develop as we go weiter. But for the lumdus, I thought it was interesting to mention this distinction.
Yeah, but the whole lumdus, you have to say the whole lumdus also. Why are you chayav from Rishus HaRabim to Rishus HaYachid? Why are you chayav from Rishus HaYachid to Rishus? What did you do? What did you do?
Well, that's based on the psukim. Right, but that's the pasuk.
No, but the thing is, what's the significance? Because you're doing something very important. You had something in one domain, whatever it is, and you put it someplace else where you wanted it. Same thing over here. You're taking this object, which was here, and you moved it in a significant
Distance.
a significant
Could
significant
be.
place to another place. This is considered another place.
Could be. So it's like
So
it's like
it's something substantial. You had it here, and now you have it here. Whoever is outside, it makes a difference. A 4 Amos that now it was before he was here, now he's here, makes a difference there.
so it's like I don't know if I said this. I said this. I don't know if I said this in the beginning or not. No. But I'm saying they said one of the pshatim that they say that hoitzah is a malacha grua. One of the pshatim that they say is that the difference between hoitzah and every other malacha is that by every other malacha you're doing malacha to an existing chayfetz, right? So you have wheat and you grind the wheat to change it to flour. So the malacha that you're doing is you're changing a chayfetz. Hoitzah is different because by hoitzah you don't do the malacha to the chayfetz. The chayfetz remains the same chayfetz that it was before. What's the malacha that you do? The malacha that you do is that if I'm in Rishus HaYachid and the chayfetz is in Rishus HaRabim, then in Rishus HaYachid I didn't have the chayfetz. By bringing the chayfetz from the Rishus HaRabim into the Rishus HaYachid, it's almost like I'm creating the chayfetz in Rishus HaYachid. So this is a little bit like what you're saying. You're making the significance of the malacha is, what's the significance of the malacha? The significance is, I need it in Rishus HaYachid, and I don't have it. So by bringing it from Rishus HaRabim into Rishus HaYachid, I created a chayfetz in Rishus HaYachid that I need. So that's a little bit what you're saying.
You're dealing with, sometimes you have space and you have time and you have different things.
Another dimension.
Okay, you're dealing with space.
Yeah.
You're dealing with space and you're doing something within space. That's significant.
Okay. Ois Gimel. So the case that the Mechaber gave us was the case of a key. Lital Mafteach b'Rishus HaYachid. You can take the key from the Rishus HaYachid. Hainu, says the Chavetz Chaim, Sham Mafteach Munach Sham Mikvar. The key is in the Rishus HaYachid outside the front door of the house. You're in Rishus HaRabim. V'noitloi misham. You could extend your hand from the Rishus HaRabim into the Rishus HaYachid. You could take the key, u'peisech hadelas, and you could open the door. Umayri, says the Chavetz Chaim, the Mechaber is talking about a case, ba'ofen sha'al yedei netilas hamafteach, a case where by taking the key mimkaimai from its place, einoi over al iser hoitzah. You're not allowed to extend your hand from the Rishus HaRabim into the Rishus HaYachid, take the key and bring it out to the Rishus HaYachid. That you can't do. But if you're in the Rishus HaRabim and you can handle the key in the Rishus HaYachid, that you could do. Kigoin sheyesh ganak. Avigdor, I don't know if you can help me out there. Do you know what that, I mean? That word seems to be some kind of a porch. Where does it say marpeset? The Parang says marpeset. So I didn't know if this word ganak is a Yiddish word or I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's Polish or Yiddish or I don't know what it is. But I was wondering. So apparently it's a porch, but okay. Kigoin sheyesh ganak mi bachutz labayis. V'haganak osoi b'mechitzais kedin rishos hayachid. And this porch that's in front of the front door of the house has mechitzais, so it's a real rishos hayachid. Or maybe the key is actually in the door. Now the Chavetz Chaim knows he's treading on thin ice here. That the key is stuck into the keyhole, like. So he knows he's treading on thin ice. The reason he's sending us back to Siman Vav Sif Gimel is because that's where we had the whole discussion of the threshold of the door. And we said that if the doorposts are daled al daled and the mashkef on top is daled al daled and it's more than 10 tefachim high, so then in the threshold is a rishos hayachid. But if you remember, the Mishnah Berurah brought down the shittas over there that you're really not allowed to treat that area as a rishos hayachid because we have to be chayshish that maybe it's not daled al daled. And if it's not daled al daled and it opens up onto Rishos Harabim, then it's chayrei Rishos Harabim and it's Rishos Harabim. If it's a carmelist, maybe it's a carmelist. So when it comes to the threshold area, we have to be very careful. So that's why the Mishnah Berurah here sends us back to Shin Mem Vav. But if we're not dealing with a threshold, if we're dealing with an actual porch area that actually has mechitzais over there, so that really is a Rishos Hayachid, then the Mechaber's din over here comes into play. V'lif toyak sham, and you're allowed to go open the door. V'loi chayshinon sheyotziyenu etzloi, and we're not afraid that by allowing you to handle the key, you might come to take the key from the Rishos Hayachid out to the Rishos Harabim and stick it in your pocket. Because why would you take it out to the Rishos Harabim? You don't need the key out in the Rishos Harabim. So why should we be chayshish that you're going to take it out to the Rishos Harabim? You want it in the Rishos Hayachid. So we're going to allow you to do this. Now this next Mishnah Berurah is the one that's giving me a little bit of a hard time. I just don't understand the Metzias so well. V'chein me Rishos Hayachid l'Rishos Harabim. The same din would be true going from Rishos Hayachid to Rishos Harabim. If you're in the Rishos Hayachid, you could handle a key that's outside in the Rishos Harabim. And we're not afraid that you're going to bring it to the Rishos Hayachid. Ritzaynoi loymar, what the Mechaber means to say is, Sha'omeid b'Rishos Hayachid, that you're standing in a Rishos Hayachid, v'noitel mafteach hamunach b'Rishos Harabim, and you're going to take a key that's located in the Rishos Harabim, upaiseach sham hachanus, and you're going to use it to go open up a store. So I just wasn't 100% sure what the Metzias over here is, that you're standing in a Rishos Hayachid, and you're opening up a door that, I came up with a case, but it's not really what he describes. The case that I had in my mind was that I'm standing in a fenced-in yard. And the fenced-in yard is the Rishos Hayachid. I want to leave the yard. Somebody locked the gate with a chain and a padlock. The key to the padlock is outside in the Rishos Harabim on the floor. So I go to the gate. I'm in the Rishos Hayachid. I stick my hand out to the Rishos Harabim. I pick up the key outside in the Rishos Harabim. I stick it into the padlock on the outside, and I unlock the padlock. So I handled the key out in the Rishos Harabim from inside in the Rishos Hayachid. And I want the key to stay out. I want the key to stay out there in Rishos Harabim because I'm leaving now, and I'm going to lock the lock. And when I come back, I want to be able to open it. So I want the key out there. I don't want the key in here. So that's the Metzias that I came up with. But that's not the Metzias that he's describing. Because he's talking about somebody who's standing in the Rishos Hayachid who's opening up a chanus. He's opening up a store. So where's the door to the store? And where is he standing in Rishos Hayachid? So the Metzias is eluding me. I just don't know what the Metzias is exactly. I don't know. Right. How's that possible? No, unless it's Chure, unless it's Chure. Unless it's Chure Rishos Harabim, where it's like you have a 16 amma wide Rishos Harabim, and you have a little alley that's not 16 amas wide, that's coming off the Rishos Harabim that we said might get the din of Chure Rishos Harabim. And over there, I don't know, I was also imagining in my head, you're in a house, let's say you're in a house, and there's a window, right? And out that window, on the ground is Rishos Harabim, and there's a key on the ground. And on a wall over here, there's a door going into a store. So you could lean out the window, pick up the key, unlock the door. I don't know. Why would you want to do that? You could do it from the outside. I don't know. Whatever. It's a Matzia Shaila.
It's helpful to like standing in the middle of your shifts out, like even next to the store. It's like
Right.
some type of
Yeah.
closure.
I don't know. Somehow it's eluding me. All right. So, Ritzayna Loi, Meshayim, B'Rishas HaYaakov, V'noit, B'Aftach, Munach, B'Rishas HaRab, B'Sech, Shabbat Konus. V'hinei, again, the Chavetz Chaim is very careful. V'hinei yesh bazeh chilukei dinim. There are a lot of details that come into play over here. V'ein kan mekayim laharich bazeh. This is not the place to be mayrich. U'kfar bayarnu le'el b'simin shin mem vav, siv gimel, b'haga, b'Mishnah Berurah. Again, he's sending us back to that lengthy Mishnah Berurah about the thresholds, ayin sham. Okay. Ois, cotton, vav, we didn't do yet. Now we go weiter in the Mechaber. So the Mechaber says, we are 5 lines down in the Mechaber. The first word on the line. Aval. Lo yamoid b'rishas hayachid. You are not allowed to stand in a rishas hayachid. V'yotzei roishay l'rishas harabim. And extend your head out to the rishas harabim. V'yishteh sham. And drink in the rishas harabim. Oy ibcha. Or vice versa. So for example, again, you're in the house. You're thirsty. You open the window and you look outside, and guess what? There's a nice glass of water sitting on the ground outside of Rishus Harabim. So you want to stick your head out the window, pick up the glass of water, take a nice drink. That, the Mechaber says, you cannot do. Or vice versa. You're outside in the Rishus Harabim, you look in the window to the Rishus HaYachid, there's a table right there, there's a glass of water, you want to stick your head and your hand in, you want to take a cup, you want to take a drink, in Rishus HaYachid, that you cannot do. Elo im kein yachnis roisha v'rubai lamakam shu shaisa. You cannot do this unless you're going to extend roisha v'rubai, your head and most of your body, out into the rishus where you're drinking. Why is this a problem? Dekevan shu tzarich la'elu amayim, because since you need the water, chashinan shema yaviyem elov. We're afraid if we're going to allow you to stick your head out, take the cup and take a drink, it is very it's very possible that you're going to, I got the drink, and now you're going to go back inside, and you're going to drink inside. So now you actually brought the cup and the water from the Rishus Harabim into the Rishus HaYachid. That you cannot do. You would be allowed to stand in a Rishus HaYachid or Rishus Harabim and drink in a karmelis oy ipcha. So now, before we go into the Mishnah Berurah, and before we go weiter in the Mechaber, I just want to give you a drop of background. The struggle that the Rishonim have over here is it's a battle between two Mishnayos in Masechtas Eruvin. We have one Mishnah in Masechtas Eruvin that tells us the first din that we learned in Siman Shin Nun, that a person is allowed to stand in one rishus, and he's allowed to handle objects that are in another rishus. That's what the Mishnah says. You could stand in Rishus HaYachid, and you could handle objects in Rishus HaRabim, as long as you don't move them 4 amas. That's the first din in Shin Nun. A blot later, we have another Mishnah in Eruvin. That Mishnah in Eruvin says, you cannot stand in Rishus HaYachid, stick your head out to Rishus HaRabim, and drink in Rishus HaRabim. So the Gemara in Eruvin asks right away, I don't understand. There's a steer between these two Mishnayos. On the one hand, you're telling me that you're allowed to do this. You're allowed to handle objects in the other rishus. On the other hand, you're telling me you're not allowed to take a drink in the other rishus. What's going on? So the Gemara answers, and the Gemara says the difference between these two Mishnayos is in one place we're talking about kalim that you don't need, and in the other case we're talking about kalim that you do need. So when we say you're allowed to handle chafetzim in the other rishus, that's kalim that you don't need in the rishus that you're in. When we tell you that you're not allowed to drink, it's because that's a keli that you do need. When you pick up a cup to take a drink, you need the drink. In order to get the drink, you need the keli, you need the water. So now we're not going to allow you to pick up a cup in Rishus HaRabim, water in it, when you're in the Rishus HaYachid, because you need it. And what are you going to do with it? You're going to bring it to your lips, right? So it's very old that you're going to bring it into the Rishus HaYachid. So now that we're not going to allow you to do. In the first Mishnah, when we allowed you to handle chafetzim outside in the Rishus Harabim. That's chafetzim that you don't need. It's a ball. You don't need the ball inside. So that's what we're going to allow you to do. That balance is what the Mechaber said over here so far, and that's the way Rashi and many of the Rishonim learn Pshat. And it comes out, according to those Shittas, that what the Mechaber just told me over here, when the Mechaber said that you're not allowed to drink, that is the din of the second Mishnah, and the truth is, it doesn't only apply to a cup and a drink, it would apply to other kalim as well. Let's say you're in a Rishus HaYachid, and it's 5 degrees outside, like it's going to be tomorrow night, they say. Or Wednesday night. So it's freezing cold inside the house, and you don't have heat. And you look out the window, and you see a beautiful sweater outside in the Rishus Harabim. So we're not going to allow you to stick your hand out to the Rishus Harabim and handle a sweater in the Rishus Harabim, because you're freezing cold and you need the sweater. So we're afraid that you're going to bring the sweater into the Rishus HaYachid. So according to this pshat, the day Rishona that we had here so far, this din of the drink is only an example. All it is an example of kalim that you need. And we're not going to allow you to handle kalim that you need. I think I know what you're going to ask, but what?
You're probably right. It looks like, yeah, you have another part to this. It's telling you another reason why it might be us.
Yeah.
Because now you're dealing with a rishus. Maybe his mouth is the rishus hayachid.
Oh, so that's that. No, it's not what I thought you were going to ask, but that's a very good point. And they talk about this. They talk about what is the status of the mouth. That when you take the drink and you put the drink in your mouth, maybe by putting the drink in your mouth, maybe you're being mitzi from one rishus to another. So we'll talk about that. Well, that's a good point. I thought you were going to ask. I thought you were going to say something else. But you see, what's bothering me over here a little bit that I don't have a good answer to is that to me there's another very big difference between handling the sweater and handling the drink. And that is that the drink, if we allow you to handle the drink is something where you could accomplish what you want to accomplish in the other rishus. You could take a drink. You could be in Rishus HaYachid, and you could lean over to the Rishus Harabim and take the drink and drink it. The sweater, you can't accomplish what you want without bringing it into the Rishus. If you want to wear the sweater, you can't accomplish that in the other Rishus. You can only accomplish it in the Rishus that you're in.
This is covered out because most of the time, as Rashi says, your body goes up to the
right
in a sukkah, right?
Rosh Harubai.
Because it might be.
All right, let's see what the Mishnah Berurah says. So now that I gave you that Hagdama, so now in Ois Cotton Vav says the Mishnah Berurah, you can't handle Kalim Shu Tzarech. Ubein Shamayim Nesunim Bekalim Noim. According to this day Rishina, it doesn't matter how pretty the cup that the water is in is. Ayenam Noim. It doesn't matter. The bottom line is you need the cup because you need to drink. And this is an important line here in the Mishnah Berurah. V'chein kol kayotza bazeh. So too would be by anything similar to the case of taking a drink. Ba'ochlin u'malbushin, whether it's food or drink or clothing. If it's something that you need in the rishus that you're in, lefi she'en chafetzim atzrichen leibim kaimai, if it's a chafetz that you need where you are, you cannot extend your head out to the other rishus and handle that chafetz. The implication is, though, that if you go Rosh Rubai out into the other rishus, you can handle it. And that's what's troubling me. What I don't understand, and I have to be ma'ayin more, is that what seems to come out over here is, if I'm in the Rishus HaYachid, and I'm freezing cold because there's no heat, I could lean out Rosh Rubai to Rishus Harabim, and I can handle a sweater, even though I need the sweater in the Rishus HaYachid, I can handle the sweater out in the Rishus Harabim, even though it's a keli that I need, if I'm Rosh Rubai out into the Rishus Harabim. And again, what's bothering me about that concept is, you want to tell me that I could go out to the Rishus Harabim, Rosh Rubai, and take a drink. So I understand. You're letting me go out Rosh Rubai. I'll take the drink. I'll accomplish what I want by drinking it. And you're not koshish that I'm going to bring it into the Rishus HaYachid because I'm Rosh Rubai outside in the Rishus Harabim. But by a sweater, no, how is it the same thing? When I roll Rosh Hashanah outside and I'm freezing cold and I handle the sweater, I can't accomplish anything with the sweater outside of the Rosh Hashanah. Let's say I do put it on, but what am I going to do? I'm going to hang out the window for the rest of Shabbos?
No.
Yeah. Maybe.
The deer show has a situation.
Yeah, but the yarmulke, which I didn't want to mention it because because I'm not sure that that's a davar muskim. That troubles me. What he's referring to is the dirshu has a footnote where the dirshu says if you're walking out, what happens if you're walking outside of Rosh Hashanah and your yarmulke blows off, and your yarmulke blows on top of a car, and the car is more than 10 tefachim high, and it's more than dalet al dalet. So the top of the car is Rosh Hashanah. So you're walking in Rosh Hashanah, your yarmulke blows off, and it goes onto a Rosh Hashanah. You can't stick your hand over to the top of the car, take the yarmulke, and put it on, because then you're making an akira in Rosh Hashanah, you're making an hanach in Rosh Hashanah. So what do? So he brings down over here, and I love the way they bring it down, mechacham echad. It says that what you could do is, what could you do? You could go ahead, Rosh, what does he say? Rosh Hashanah go Rosh Hashanah onto the car, pick up the yarmulke, put it on your head, and now that you're wearing the yarmulke, you could go out into the Rosh Hashanah. Because what did you do essentially? Essentially, you went into the house, you went into Rosh Hashanah, you put on a garment, and you went out to Rosh Hashanah. Nothing wrong with that. So what he is saying is that by going Rosh Hashanah onto the car, it means that you're in the Rosh Hashanah. Now that seemed to be a little bit of a leap to me. Because so far all I saw here in Shin Nun was that by going Rosh Hashanah into the other Rishus, I'm not choshish that you're going to bring it back into this Rishus. But I did not see spelled out so far in Shin Nun that when you're Rosh Hashanah in the other Rishus, it means that you're in the other Rishus. That's what he's saying. You're in the other Rishus. That I didn't see. What do you mean? What does it mean?
So what's the point of going Rosh Hashanah?
The point that if I'm Rosh Hashanah in the other Rishus, I'm not afraid that you're going to bring it back into this Rishus. Because you went far enough into that Rishus that you're going to do whatever you want in that Rishus and you're not going to bring it back. But you're in that Rishus, is that what it means? Rosh Hashanah, you're in that Rishus? Even though your Raglayim are still in that Rishus? Maybe?
You're allowed to be with Talmud.
Hmm?
You're in that Rishus, you're allowed to be with Talmud. It's Yamaka sweating, you're allowed to be with Talmud.
Right.
You're with Talmud by putting on your head. You're wearing it now.
You're wearing it now. Yeah. I want to see if it's a davar muskim. So the sweater. So you're saying now that you could go Rosh Hashanah into the Rosh Hashanah, put on the sweater.
Now I'm wearing a sweater.
It could be. I want to be mavar. I want to be mavar that.
Sweater altogether. I'm in Rosh Hashanah and I walk through Rosh Hashanah. I'm wearing a sweater.
That's not a problem.
So I'm wearing a sweater. You're now wearing a sweater.
That's okay. That's what it is. That's derech malbush.
You don't like
I'm not saying that. I want to see it.
You like the way you clothes. You like the way you clothes.
Okay. We'll be mavar and I'll let you know. Okay. Ice cotton Zion.
You like the way you clothes.
Bekarmelis. You could in a Carmelis. You're allowed to do this at a Carmelis. The Rosh Hashanah Gufa who rock mitam gzeira shemi yvienu et sloi v'loy gazrinam gzeira l'gzeira. All right, we're gonna have to stop here because I'm not going to go into the day Shniya. I'm not going to start the day Shniya with a minute left. Okay, very good. Yashikayach. I'll be mavar this to make sure, and I will report back to you.
So most of the stories anyway happen in a Carmel anyway. If you're saying anyway, it's from the Carmel anyway. So in this situation, it would.
Oh, so now we're gonna with our Rosh Hashanahs.
Usually it's not going to happen.
Right.